All right, I think we're live here. Okay, I just wanted to go on here and give a quick testimony as to um, my journey with finances and how I got to where I am today, and a very important announcement that I'm trying to get out to people. That's why I'm recording this. I want to tell as many people, what God has told me, especially my Christian brothers and sisters. My family, my friends, anybody that I've ministered to, anybody we're trying to help out. I mean, this is something incredible that I've learned through the Word, through prayer, through allowing God to send me where He wants me to go in this journey of understanding finances biblically. So I just wanted to give a quick testimony and then share some really important news with you guys. So first of all. My name is CaponeD. I'm with Kingdom Legacy Records. If you don't know me, then please listen. You get to know me. I would be happy to answer questions. But for those that do know me, you understand where my heart is, what I've been doing for many, many years now, decades. We have been serving the Lord on the road, traveling, ministering, spreading the word, spreading the gospel, helping others do the same. We've been doing it for decades now. Born in the faith. My grandfather's a pastor. Just about everybody in my family is a pastor except for me. I stuck to the music and the ministry side. But this is something that's been my whole life. And I've had no problems. 47 years old. I've had no problems serving the Lord in joy, gratefully, in poverty, all of my life. Even with the family of six, that's my family here, and we still have no, we're still like a lot of people out there working every day for the money, and it really started to weigh on my heart. I'm concerned about making the money every day, especially because I was a manager at a company where, it's my job to bring in sales. So yeah, my whole focus was the money. And I got to a point where I got sick and tired of money. I just absolutely got sick and tired of hearing about money. I didn't want to think about money. For real, I literally hate money. So this, without a doubt, has nothing to do with the love of money. This has to do with me wanting to get to a place where it's exactly like God intended. And surprisingly enough, that's what happened. So, tell you my story real quick. Back in around Thanksgiving of 2019, I had already gotten to the point where, again, I was just fed up with money, fed up with working every day to watch, to make that money, fed up with trying to, just make it, scratch out a daily living. You guys know how it is. You know how it is, right? And it can be very exhausting. It can be very tiring. But you know what? I thought, hey, I'm going to have to do something to I can't get this. I can't get this on my own. I'm not cutting it. So, it really got to the point in our lives where, like I said, a family of six, I'm trying everything from my strength, my hand. I trust in the Lord. I believe in God. I've always done that. But I've never really, we've always done well enough where, I could say, hey, we're cutting it, and like truly not be at your lowest, and so thankfully, I've been able to, have that joy, but sometimes you got to let him do it, even if you have the joy. It's not about joy in the dark times. It's about, we're in dark times for a reason. So maybe we got to look at why we're in dark times and why have we been in dark times for so long, and that's the point that I was coming to. So I finally asked God, Lord, please tell me what is going on. What is happening in my life that's keeping me from achieving what, you've put so many visions in my head, I'm talking about like from the time that I was a kid. I can remember waking up and telling my mother, I had a dream last night, Mom, that, I had found a wallet on the floor. And when I picked it up, there was $100 bill inside. And so when I pulled out the $100 bill and I spent it, there was another $100 bill inside. So no matter how many $100 bills were inside, there was always another $100 bill inside. And that was my dream, like wow, that would be awesome. And of course, that's just ridiculous. but I would like to sit there and dream and talk to my mom and tell her about, oh, well, I would spend the money on this and that, and my dreams weren't about, I mean, obviously everybody's gonna, want a car and house and stuff like that, but I would dream about, okay, because she would teach me. She would, at some point you're gonna have too much money if that's the case, right? So then what do you do? So yeah, we would think about how we can help people and how we can, bless others with that money and all of that. So I've always come from a place where, it's not about, taking care of yourself, although that is important. It's about taking care of yourself and the generations to come. That's why it says in the Bible that a good man leaves behind an inheritance. Why would the Lord say that if it was bad for you to leave behind an inheritance? But the fact of the matter is, I'm getting, feeling like that. Like I'm getting up in years, and hey, as of right now, I have literally zero. I had zero savings. Many of us are in this position. We've got nothing in the bank, nothing for savings. I finally, back in that year, I finally got it up to the point where, hey, I'd put $250 into an IRA, at 45 or something like that, 46. I don't remember. That's not gonna help, right? After 1 year, $250 in an IRA had produced me 5 cents in earnings or interest or whatever you call it, right? So I just didn't understand money. And I did not understand. All I understood is you got to go out there and chase it every single day. And I did not want to do that no more. I wanted to spend my time with the Lord. I wanted to spend my time serving the Lord. I was sick and tired of being out there chasing money. And so I listened to God when he said, just quit and come listen and learn from me. So that was a very scary thing for me to do, because not only was I working at a place, but where I was working, the owner of the business was also my landlord. So it's like, okay, I'm not going to work for you no more, but I'm also not going to pay you rent. that was a tough thing. So praise God, he did put people in my life that, though it was a hassle for a little bit and it was a hardship on our relationship for a while, we did get through it. And we're still in this house today. We never moved. And, it was also a blessing for me to be able to show someone the power of the Lord, because for month after month after month, look, dude, I don't know how I'm going to be able to pay the rent, but I know God's going to come through. I know God's going to come through. I know God's going to come through. He got sick and tired of hearing that after a while, as you can imagine. And, obviously so. But I knew God would come through. And yes, it was like that, where at that time, Thanksgiving 2019, I turned my whole world upside down to follow what God wanted me to do. I went against what the entire world said to do. The world says to work. You've got kids to feed. Of course, that makes sense. Even the pastors, even the churches, everybody's going to tell you got to work, you got to feed the kids. Of course. But God was pulling on my heart that, no, you don't have to do that. There is a different way. There is a different way. What you have to know how to do, though, first is understand money and how it works. And that's one thing that I never had. So I literally would wake up every morning. I would get into the Word, still do. But my first thing, I wake up, I get into the Word, praise and worship. And then, Lord, what do you want me to learn today? What do you want to teach me? Where do you want me to go? Who do you want me to talk to? How do you want me to handle this? You guide my steps each and every day. So I would wake up. I'd get to my place of business, and my business is being you, Lord. My business is being here with you and going where you tell me to go, Lord. That is what the business is all about at this moment. So I did that. I did that for it was from Thanksgiving. I left work for Thanksgiving weekend, and I never went back. And from that point until it was probably like in April when the pandemic hit. And at that point, yes, things got bad. It got bad for everybody, but it really was where I was already sequestered. I was already, here at the house. We didn't go nowhere. We were having an amazing time, because I would wake up, I would pray, I would do that, I'd be in the Lord. And the rest of the time, we would just, I started gardening. We built a prayer pond. Like, we had time to spend time with each other, to spend time with God, to spend time doing the things he had us to do. I wasn't under any man's time frame. I wasn't under any man's like they're gonna provide for me or whatever. No, it was God providing everything, and it truly was a blessing. However, the money wasn't, it was still, nothing's coming in. So I'm following, I'm trusting, I'm believing. I know something's gonna happen. Next thing you know, COVID hits. Next thing you know, they're throwing stimulus at people. So all of a sudden, I could pay my rent a little bit. I broke off, caught up on that. And then they're offering unemployment for gig workers, which I do music and I do gigs, which I do music and I'm self-employed. So the self-employed, we're finally able to get unemployment unlike any other time before. That's never been an option here in Texas, that we can get unemployment. So for the first time, that happened. So now for a whole year, both me and my wife are in the same position. We each got unemployment, and that took care of us for the year. What a blessing. Not to mention all the stimulus that came through, all of that. So in that time, it's not that just we're getting the help from the government. That's a blessing, but God's teaching us what to do with it. So instead of putting the money in the bank like we would normally do and stuff like that, we started learning how to work things. How does this, how does that? And yes, at first, you get it. That's the hard part. You get excited. You might get a little into yourself, but you need to follow God. So yeah, 2020, I got a little excited, especially with the crypto. You get a little excited, but you can't. You have to. They call it FOMO, fear of missing out. People are getting like that right now, but you can't do that. When you deal with your finances, you have to deal in wise investing. It's like the story of the talents. We're required to show what we did with this. So definitely, we want to be able to take what God gives us and turn it into something more than just that. That's really important. And that's the good servant. We want to be the good servant, right? So I was able to finally get it down. This is not about it's not about trying to trade. So this is what I found in the Christian world. When it comes to making money, it's like a taboo subject. Like, we don't want to teach our kids literacy when it comes to money. We don't want to talk about this. I've heard people actually call cryptocurrency the mark of the beast. Like, clearly when they say stuff like that, they clearly don't even understand what this is. Sure, maybe one day a mark of the beast might create a coin. And it's a long story. And if anybody has questions, again, I'm more than willing to answer. But it has nothing to do. If that's the case, I'd worry more about your cell phones. We all have the SIM cards. We all have the numbers, all of us. Okay, so I would worry more about that than cryptocurrency. Not even 10% of the world even know about cryptocurrency right now, much less. So this is where we get to what God sent me. He sent me on a path where I learned about stocks and investments, and it was a long journey, and 2 years now in the making. And finally, I'm feeling confident. Finally, we're set. We're finally looking at it, and things are actually happening. And I'm sitting here talking about how things are happening, about how excited I am about what God's doing in the middle of a market that's completely bearish. It's all down. It's all red. It's not a good time. It's not what other people would call not a good time. But for people like us in that position, for people that are ready, that can do a little something, this is the perfect time, because prices are low. You could buy in, but that's the point. This is I hear people, Christians like that, talking like investment is gambling, and that's not how it works. When you trade, that's a different story. When you're trading, like if I try and put in some money right now and try and take it out this afternoon or a little later when the price goes up, buy low, sell high, like that, that's gambling. You run a risk, and people become rich because people do that all day long. Okay. What I'm talking about is being smart with your money, learning how you're supposed to handle it, and doing the right thing. So we are supposed to have this idea where the money's working for us, not us working for the money. Because if we're out there and our whole day consists of our job, it just doesn't make sense. So I learned easily that my first lesson was in ROBINHOOD in the regular stock world, where I saw what's called dividends, and it was amazing to me because I bought, I think it was like maybe 100 shares of this one stock, and it probably cost me like $39 at the time, and it was paying out dividends. And so I was literally like, I believe it was every quarter, I was making like 39 cents. Like, okay, again, I knew that if I kept my money in a bank, it would do nothing. So anything is, even pennies, I can understand that, So yeah, if I'm making 39 cents off of $100 investment, or a $39 investment, I'm sorry, if I'm making that much of a $39 investment, then I would be making $3.90, if I put in this much, and I'd be making $300 if I put in that much. And it's just simple math. If you have that much, the interest or the dividends that they're paying you off your investment, that it just makes sense. So if you need enough money to work where you don't have to go to work and you can let this pay off, that can be done. It can easily be done in the stock market. However, in the stock market, you need an extreme amount of money, like an extreme amount of money that for poor people like me at the time, we couldn't handle that at all, right? So what the blessing was is that God took me through the stock market, and he took me through trading, and he took me, to understand what those candles mean and all of that, to finally get me to this point today where we are invested. We have Shiba, we have Saitama, we have Shinja, we have several tokens and several stakes that are going to be paying us what the cryptocurrencies call reflections. But basically, it's an interest on the money that you make, so, and which is paid in the token. So again, if right now these are tokens that if they ever reach the price of $1, then every token that I have would be worth $1, correct? But since they are right now extreme low numbers, like it dreams about being a penny one day, right? So I can afford, trillions or millions or billions of these tokens for hundreds of dollars, because that's how low the price is right now. That's what they're worth currently. But as these projects keep working on new things and new releases and it's crazy. There's a whole bunch. But the big thing, the big news, the reason I'm coming on right now and explaining this and talking in depth about this, I know it's coming out of nowhere. It's just like it could sound rambling and everything, but that's because it's exciting and it's new and it's about to pop. But again, the most important thing is reflections. So I wanted to bring this and show you exactly what is going on in my world here. So this is what I wanted to show you. Like I said, reflections are the key. Okay, what I learned in this journey is that all those people that everybody complains about that aren't paying their taxes, their fair share, right? The rich, right? They stay rich because they have investments like houses and stuff like that, and they don't sell them unless it's gonna give them a better, generally they don't sell. If they got a better deal for it or they make a lot of money, maybe they'll sell. But usually they just let it sit there. They never sell their initial investment. They live on the dividends or interest, and in the case of crypto, it's reflections. If you can get into a token that will pay you reflections on a daily basis. So I know you've heard this concept before, but it's never worked in your favor. It's always worked against you. Compound daily interest, right? So that means if I have, let's say I have $100 today, and I get paid reflections that would amount to another $1, then tomorrow it'll be giving me reflections based off $101, and it'll probably give me 101 and 10 cents. And so it constantly grows and grows and grows. It grows faster. That's why your car payments are so much, because when you miss payments, that compound interest kills you. It eats you alive. So in this case, it would be the reverse. You would actually be eating the token alive, and you would be increasing your wealth, your investment, just by buying it and holding it. And at some point in the future, and I truly believe that it's going to be 5 to 10 years, when these coins reach these prices of like 0.00001, you can live off your reflections. And if you make $1,800, like I know we could live off 1825. If you're watching how this works with the reflections, and you see how that looks, right? This is truly going to work this way. I'll show you this example. Make an investment that yields around 500K reflections a day, and there's lots of tokens that'll do that. Lots of them. So, there's many that you can get into. Saitama is definitely one. Saitama right now for me is giving me 1 million reflections every 6 hours. Every 6 hours, I'm getting another 1 million Saitama tokens. Every 6 hours. So, or that's where it's going. It's going that way. And so here's the deal. When your token hits these prices, you'll make that much, right? So if it gets to that first one, the 4 zeros and a 1, and you have 500,000 tokens that you got in reflections, and you're doing that daily, then, if you just took the 500 and you sold those every day for 365 days, that's 1825, right? So one up from that, the number 2 spot there is 0001, 3 zeros and a 1. That's going to give you 18,000 a year. That was my last tax return. So that's my whole year. Okay. The second one, when it gets down to just below a penny, that's going to change my tax bracket. And this is me not selling my initial investment, and me just living off the reflections that I get every single day. Every single day. And then if it ever reaches a penny, that changes our lives. And like I tell my kids, when it reaches 10 cents, now we're changing other people's lives too. And that's what it's about. It's not just about, changing our lives or whatever. It's about changing other people's lives and changing the generations. And I mean, this is all doable. Saitama, for instance, some people are talking about it going to $1 eventually. They're working out deals with different companies, and it's big. So, if it did reach $1 and we made 1 million reflections in a day, that's literally $1 million a day. It's just ridiculous. But you know what? The word, my word speaks about that. My word speaks about wealth transfers. My word speaks about the cattle on 1,000 hills. My word speaks about that. So that's why I want to show you this project real quick. Saitama. This is the project that this is one of the projects. So I got this one, I got Shinja, I got Shiba, all of them in pretty much a good position like this. But I just wanted to show you. So originally I'd purchased this many tokens on Uniswap through my Coinbase wallet, and that was the total cost right there. So the total cost was $389, and then in gas fees, that's the transfer fees you got to pay when you buy. This can be complicated. That's why I said, no matter what, if you have questions, I have no problem walking you through this, because this is something that is going to, when we can be in a different place like this, where these kinds of numbers are actual dollars, not just tokens, where we can be in this place. Sorry, that's not. That is going to be seriously life-changing, where we can go out there and change communities, where we can go and feed the poor, house the poor. Like, I'll be building communities. Honestly, I'll buy plots of land and I'll build communities. And right now, currently, we were already working on an adoption place that's already in the works. All this stuff is just going to make it easier. So this is not for, again, this isn't about getting rich. This ain't about Lambos and all this stuff that there's gonna be the world out there using cryptocurrency, yes. But this is truly the chance for the kingdom to get in and take over before the world does. We are really in a place where the wealth of the wicked is about to get transferred. It is. You just got to get in there. You just got to get in there. And right here to show you this, I started tracking it. I put in my money here. The reflections that I got while it was on Coinbase was that much. So while it was on Coinbase for several months, I had it on there maybe 6 months or something like that. Then in January, the SataMask came out. That's the wallet that Satan was using, which is phenomenal. It is having glitches. Again, we are so early on this. You know, they knocked this out in less than a month. I mean, in less than a few months. You know, there's people that are doing apps that have been doing it for years, and it's still not perfect. They knocked this out in several months. You know, that's incredible. And people are, you know, they're you'll find people that it's called FUD, fear, uncertainty, and something else. I don't know. I don't listen to it because I understand that right now, 10% of the world's population has no clue what cryptocurrency is. No clue. None. So imagine that if you had your investment now before the rest of the world figures it out. And this is something, just like the internet, that will reach 100% world adoption. Everyone will have something like this on their phone. If not SataMask, then the Shiba Swap or Coinbase or Robinhood or something. 100% of the world will be invested in cryptocurrency in some way or another. That's going to take all these numbers and just make them astronomical because we were in at the beginning. It's the same thing as those people that bought Amazon stock at, you know, $2-3. Those people are out of their mind rich, but not this rich, because we're talking a whole different thing here. A whole different thing. There's limits over there in that world. This world, as with the metaverse, has a lot less limits. So, you know, on the 25th, I transferred it over. I lost some tokens in the transfer. It's part of the tax. That's how it works. That's how you get reflections. So it's fine. Every time there's a transaction made, either bought or sold or whatever, the reflections are being paid to the entire community, to everybody that holds a token based on the amount of tokens you hold. So again, daily compound interest. So as you get more reflections, they will base the new reflections off the reflection off of the total current supply you have at the time of the reflection. So yeah, daily compound interest. Actually, not even daily. It's reflection, transaction compound interest, every transaction that's done on the thing. So that's why they're so extreme. So to give you an example, I've been watching. So yeah, I lost some. And when I started on SataMask, that was my original amount. So I come down here and I looked between here and here. This was today, between 1 o'clock and 6 o'clock. So 5 hours. I made 869,000 reflections in 5 hours. So again, you know, if this thing at the current price, that's nothing. That's 2 cents. But again, remember earlier when I spoke about I was talking about how when I was young that I'm sorry, not when I was young, that I did the IRA. Sorry. I did the IRA and I got in 1 year 5 cents. I got 2 cents in 5 hours. 2 cents in 5 hours versus 5 cents in 1 year being in a traditional bank. 2 cents in 5 hours versus 5 cents in 1 year in a traditional bank. That's a no-brainer to me. So, you know, people try and, you know, like I said, they try and bring in the FUD and say, hey, whatever. But when it reaches this price, the number 2, I'll be making $18,000 a year. At my current income, that means I can retire. And where's it at right now? Let's see, what's this? 1, 2, 3 zeros and a 1. It is currently 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 zeros and a 2. See? So we would literally have to drop 4 zeros. So its all-time high, where it was a couple of months ago, was over here. So it had already dropped 2 zeros. So it can go right back up. It should be going right back up to that and beyond. So to get here this year, I personally think that's doable. Maybe it's not. Maybe it'll take a couple years. But in a couple years, I will be making that much every year and never having to work. $18,250 every single year and never having to work. And again, for me personally, this is based off the 500K. So yeah, at $1 million, which is I'm doing, we're doing that right now, over $1 million a day, right? Over $1 million a day, easily probably $2 million a day, right? That's like 4 times that. That's like 4 times that. So yeah, even down here, that's a nice number. It's a nice little Christmas bonus right here. At the first one, when we get to this many zeros, that's our annual Christmas bonus right there. On the next step up, that's when we can retire and never have to work again. And yeah, like I said, if I'm at the time making $1 million reflections a day, then we'd be looking at something like $36,000 a year. That's not bad. On one investment, I've got 3 or 4 investments that's going to produce the same thing for me here. So again, this is just phenomenal. It's just incredible. But one of the important things is right now it's this low. That's the price. So yeah, if you let's see, for you to get a good let's say 15 billion, it's going to cost you about $379. That's the cost right there. That's what it would cost you to change the rest of your life. If you can be, if it does get to, not a penny, not the one right before it, you would be able to fund the ministries, and like I said, you could buy entire communities and help rebuild. And I mean, there's just, we're talking about an annual payment, which actually it would be given to you daily, but that's how much you would make annually. But you would get a daily amount that would equal that much. That's just astonishing. So yeah, one day it will get to the point where if you have a million and it's 1 cent, it's like something like $10,000 a day. Have you ever thought about, if you were to be blessed with that kind of money, could you imagine you have to work right now to get something in place so that you can give this money away, so that you can give it away. Can you imagine having to give away $10,000 a day? That it would get difficult. I could imagine. I remember that old movie from the 80s, Brewster's Millions. It could get difficult. So yeah. By Sunday, this is going up. This is not going to. They're about to launch some new things and they're about to release. So by Sunday, they're coming out, and this is the chance to get in. So if you need help, if you want help, give me send me a message or post a response. Family, everybody, whatever, call me. You know what to do. But if you want to get on this and get something like that where you can do it for $400, right now you can, you could do it for $400. It won't be like that after this weekend. So if you want to do that, do it now, because this is going to be life changing.